Hi guys, Christina Regine here. Today we are making Salmon Wellington. It is basically a salmon pie with spinach, cream cheese, and parmesan. It is really good and it's pretty fun to make. Let's get started. Here are our seasonings. I have 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of capers, a teaspoon of salt, a tablespoon of hot sauce, 1 teaspoon of white pepper, and a teaspoon of chili powder. Here I'm going to mix all the dry seasonings together. And now we can start seasoning our salmon. Here I have a 2-pound salmon and I am adding some olive oil to it. Just spread it all over and make sure it is well coated with the olive oil. Now let's add the hot sauce. I am using a Scotch bonnet hot sauce. If you want, you could cut it out or you could use less. And now I am using a spatula to spread the hot sauce all over the salmon, and I'm just going to make sure that it is well coated and that it is spread out evenly across the fish. And here I'm going to pour just a little bit of caper juice over the salmon. Use about a total of 1 teaspoon of caper juice, so half a teaspoon on each side of the salmon, because you don't want to overpower the other flavors. And now let's add our dry seasoning mixture and make sure that you spread it out evenly across the entire salmon. And now we're just going to repeat everything we did previously, but on the other side of the salmon. So again, add some olive oil and spread the olive oil across the entire salmon. And now let's add the hot sauce and spread that over the salmon as well. And let's add the remaining half of the dry seasoning mixture. Now that we are done seasoning our salmon, we can go ahead and move on to cooking the spinach. To a large pan over medium-high heat, I added 2 tablespoons of salted butter. And once the butter is melted, we can go ahead and add our spinach. I have 1 10-ounce bag of spinach that I'm adding here. I am using a wooden spoon to kind of push the spinach down as I am stirring it. And you need to cook it until it has reduced. Make sure to drain out all the excess water from the spinach once you're done cooking it. Now our spinach has reduced, so at this point we can stop cooking it. And I'm going to go ahead and transfer it into a separate bowl. As you're transferring the spinach to the bowl, make sure not to catch all that excess water. If anything, you might need to drain out the pot first, or you could drain the bowl once you are done transferring the spinach. So here is our spinach, and to it I am adding 4 ounces of cream cheese. And let's mix the cream cheese into the spinach. And by the way, 4 ounces of cream cheese is like half a block of cream cheese. Okay, now I just added 1 cup of Parmesan cheese. And now let's continue to stir until everything is nice and creamy. And here you can see how creamy the mixture is, and this is what we are looking for. Here is our puff pastry that we will be using for our Salmon Wellington. You could use a store-bought puff pastry or you could make your own. Now I am putting the salmon on the pastry, and make sure that you leave it centered on the pastry. And then we can go ahead and top it with our spinach mixture and spread it across the salmon. And now we can top the salmon with some capers. I am using 1 tablespoon of capers. I'm spreading them out all across to make sure I get an even distribution. And now let's cover it with the second puff pastry. So now I am tucking our Salmon Wellington. So basically just make sure that you press down the edges of the puff pastry while also pushing the edges of the pastry towards the salmon, and then roll the edges as you're pressing it to make sure that it is closed. Take a fork to press down the edges once more. Make sure that the pastry is tightly sealed. Transfer it over to a greased baking dish. And here I am using a fork, like I mentioned earlier, to make sure that everything is well sealed. Grab a knife and cut slits into the top of the pastry. This is to make sure that it cooks evenly. You can cut it in any pattern or shape you want. Just make sure you put enough holes in there and that you do not cut in too deep. And now I am preparing an egg wash. So just beat 1 egg, and you can go ahead and put that egg wash over the top of the pastry and then spread it all across with a brush or a spatula. At 350 degrees Fahrenheit, bake the Salmon Wellington for 30 to 35 minutes or until you get a nice, beautiful golden brown color at the top like you see here. And here is our Salmon Wellington. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you like this recipe. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more recipes like this one. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!